Welcome to Bit Dungeon. This title started life as a Flash game and came to the iPad towards the end of 2012. Recently, Kinto Games pushed an update to the App Store, making the game not only a little more stable and a little better to look at, but the game is now also universal. That's right, now iPhone gamers can enjoy this gorgeous retro dungeon crawler. Or can they? As you'd probably expect from the title, Bit Dungeon's style is heavily influenced by games of the late 80s and early 90s. This all translates very nicely to the iPhone's smaller screen, and although iPhone 5 support is not yet included, nothing is lost in translation. The sound is glorious. You'll be pleasantly surprised by the excellent lo-fi burps, chirps, and blips. They fit really well with the actions performed by player and enemy alike. The music is a different story. Its upbeat and chirpy dance tracks are not something you'd expect to hear in an action RPG necessarily. But the riffs themselves are quite nice. The biggest issue with the tracks are that there's not many of them and they're very short, often fading out and then looping. This definitely makes the game feel much less contiguous and takes a player out of the experience somewhat. Players expecting a deeper roguelike experience may find themselves a little bit disappointed when it comes to Bit Dungeon. You'll progress through each floor of the dungeon by clearing out enemies in a room, collecting a key and choosing a path to take to get to the boss. You have a choice when it comes to navigating the 10 rooms on each floor. You can either clear each room to gain more experience, or you can take a more direct course to the boss. Grinding rooms has obvious advantages, namely the potential for more loot and levels. There doesn't seem to be a reliable formula when it comes to leveling up. It seems to happen at random intervals. As there's no progress meter or status screen, the player never really knows when the next one will arrive. Occasionally, after clearing a room, 3 orbs will appear. All you need to do is select one from either attack power, critical attack, or health upgrades. Again, without a status screen, there's no real way to track how you're doing in each category. On my previous playthrough, I chose to maximize my attack power. I managed to progress to the 7th floor. Up until that point, nothing at all was a challenge. The 7th floor boss, on the other hand, which incidentally was a harder version of a boss I'd fought earlier, took me down with ease. The game's story is somewhat vague, only drip-feeding itself to the player over the course of the game. What I could garner from the limited amount of information is that your wife is missing or something. Perhaps she decided to go for a drive down to the local dungeon and have lunch with the girls. Maybe she took a wrong turn. Who knows? Speaking of wrong turns, let's talk about the controls. This is by far and away my biggest concern with the game. On the Flash version, all input is driven with the mouse. You click to walk, click to attack, hold down click to block, and perform special attacks. Nothing has changed on the iOS version. The controls are identical. Now, while on the iPad this works reasonably well, due to the reduced screen size of the iPhone, it is unbelievably frustrating to play. My thumb or finger always block my view of the action. Because of this, you're forced to continuously tap ahead of you to walk and attack. This makes the game feel more like a stab in the dark than a deliberate, planned rampage. Interacting with the various chests and items lying around requires a certain level of accuracy, which just isn't possible on the iPhone. I have a feeling that with on-screen virtual controls, this game would be so much better. The game does leave me with a lot of questions. What do the coins do that I'm picking up? Why can't I have multiple save slots? Why can't I have an options or main menu screen? All in all, it's not an awful game, but it certainly needs a lot of care before it can match the standard of other, older dungeon crawlers on iOS. Bit Dungeon will set you back 99 cents at the time of this review, and there'll be a link in the description below. Thank you so much for checking out today's review. Remember to hit that subscribe button for more great iOS gaming content, and check out GameMob for the latest mobile gaming news, reviews, tips, and previews. That's www.gamemob.com.